Hi everyone, Archie here. I'm here today on camera. I can't believe it, I must be mad. But I want you to come on camera today to talk to you guys about an amazing book. Yes, my recipes are in there. Yes, I'm also in there too. But that's not really important. What's important is the actual content of the book. The book's about food poverty. My mission in life, I believe, as a chef, I'm a retired chef, is to spread the joy, the love of food. I'm only ever happy when I'm talking about food. And my dear friend Pat approached me about a year ago, and she said, I'm writing a book called Humble Pie about food poverty, and I'd love you to contribute to it. Can I interview you? Can we do a few recipes? I said, absolutely, I'd love to do that. I'd love to be involved in a project like that. And obviously it's a wonderful project from the moral side of things, but it's also an amazing project because it's also essentially about spreading the love of food. And I just want to talk to you guys about this book. I'm not here to review it because who am I to review an amazing book? Pat is an amazing journalist from Pennsylvania, and she writes lots and lots of books. All the proceeds of this book, I must tell you, go to homeless charities in the United States of America. I know I'm from the UK, and I'm not really here to pontificate about the politics surrounding all this, and there is politics involved. Politics are involved in the book, although not a great deal. Mainly, what blew me away about the book, all the lovely little stories that you read. Pat has travelled the States, and she's spoken to so many different people, and she's interviewed them. She's got their side of things, and all these people have had to live with food poverty. They've either experienced it, or they act on behalf of the impoverished people who are deprived of food. So it's a fascinating read. I'm not sure the last time you picked up a newspaper and you read an amazing, heartwarming story about someone who's done an awful lot for children or the underprivileged or whatever. This book is full of those type of stories. And I just want to, I'm not really going to give much away because I want you guys to buy the damn book. But I just want to read you, unfortunately, I've lost my space. So I'm going to read you just a small passage about an amazing lady. Her name was Geraldine. Geraldine worked the comedy circuit in New York, ate pizza with George Carlin, sold a bit to Robin Williams. One he used on Johnny Carson when Johnny was still host, she confided proudly. If you take the time to listen, she did her own stand-up routines too, but mostly she hung around clubs, selling gags and one-liners to other comedians. She loved them all, but Williams the most. He and I, she said, used humour for the same thing, protection. Geraldine often spoke about herself or family members when she wrote, I'm studying to be agoraphobic. The homework's a cinch, but graduation will be a bitch. Often her jokes seemed to be about random people, but they were inspired by the uncomfortable relations in her own life. When we were alone, she explained in this way, my mother never understood me, but never tried. In public, to elicit the humour that fed her soul, her barbs took on a generic tone. She had an inferiority complex so good, she actually made herself inferior. Like Williams, humour could only protect her so far. She fell victim to her mental illness and died way too early after living a decade or more on the street. When Geraldine spoke to the housed, she used words. When she spoke to the unhoused, she used food. That is typical of this book. So many absolutely fascinating stories in the book. And obviously, to finish off the little bit about Geraldine, what Pat's done, she's included a fabulous recipe or two that Geraldine gave her. And I can't tell you how utterly rewarding, how uplifting it is to read some of the amazing accounts of the truly unbelievable people who've worked so hard to feed folks who just don't have a great chance in life, folks who just don't have enough food, whether it be for themselves or whether it be from their family. The book's called Humble Pie. It's by Pat LaMarche, and I'm just going to read you one more passage. I don't want to bore you too much, but obviously me reading is not the greatest thing to talk about. This passage here I'm going to read is about Eva Grover, and this is Pat obviously talking. I asked Eva how she got involved with the operation in the first place. Holding my broadcast mic in front of her, live on the radio, she explained, it started when I volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club. I was a retired nurse. I got bored sitting at home. Eva explained that she'd wait out at the front building for the children to get off the bus, and she'd welcome them into the after-school programme, and some of the little ones said that they were hungry. Eva went to the store, bought the fixings for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. She fed the children and were there that first day and planned to do the same the next day. But I couldn't. Eva stared wide-eyed as she explained that she didn't have enough food. The next day there were twice as many kids went for me, she said. Word had gotten around that this kind old lady at the youth centre would feed the children. I knew then that an awful lot of the children in the community were hungry. Within a few years, after hundreds and thousands of dollars donated by various people, what started as a personal gift of sandwich making for a dozen hungry kids had grown to a youth feeding programme, making more than 40,000 meals each year. Yeah, 40,000. And now, 12 years after Eva's death, her programme feeds, wait for it, 100,000 meals a year to children. In 2002, Eva Grover was inducted into the Alphon Youth Centre Hall of Fame. Shortly thereafter, well into her 70s, Eva retired from her second and best loved profession, cooking for the poorest kids in the community. There's some of Eva's recipes in this book, and some of them are absolutely brilliant. And the only other thing I want to mention is things that I didn't know before I read this book. I'm almost 60 years of age, so I regard myself pretty well learned in the practice of life, but I didn't know that in the States you can be arrested for taking food out of a trash can. So you need to remember that the next time you guys are sitting there eating one of my pies or cooking one of my recipes and sitting down, that if you haven't got any food in the States, I don't know about the law in Europe or in the UK, but in the States, if you go around the back of a supermarket or a restaurant or a food, establishment, and you take the top off the trash can and you see something really good to eat, if there's a policeman passing by, you'll get arrested and you'll get taken down. I'm not sure if it's a jailhouse or if it's down the precinct, not really sure. But they call it dumpster diving, apparently, according to Pat's book. But that blew me away. So let's just pretend I've got a couple of kids and I've got a family and I've got no food. And I know for a fact that close to where I sleep on the streets, there's a supermarket that sells lots of amazing hors d'oeuvres and cooked meats, and on Saturday it's their busiest day. So I'm going to take my family around the back of that supermarket when everyone's gone home and it's quiet. I'm going to open the trash cans and I'm going to find chicken and beef and pasta and fruit and bread and pastries. Oh my God, we're going to have a feast. But halfway through that feast, the police are going to turn up and arrest me and my family and take me away for eating because we were hungry. That, and I'm not going to comment on it, I'm a foreigner, don't forget I'm a Brit, I'm not an American, but that absolutely devastated me when I read about that. I had to read the page again. It absolutely blew me away. There's another wonderful story about an Afghan family that Pat met, and that absolutely, that's one of those success stories that you read about, that we all love to read about. That's a smashing story in the book. Obviously, some brilliant recipes. Today, I made American chop suey. I'm not sure if my cameraman can get the light on this, but today I made American chop suey, and this is in the book. I didn't know, and I've been a chef for over 40 years, I didn't know that American chop suey involved elbow macaroni pasta and ground beef and tomatoes and stuff like that. So I made this dish and we filmed it, so it'll be on the channel Very, very simple, possibly the easiest pasta dish I've ever made. I had to modify the menu. I have a teenage daughter that lives with me and she will not eat pasta unless there's melted cheese involved. So forgive me for that. But this is American chop suey. It's on the channel. It's a fabulous dish. It's the easiest pasta dish I think I've ever made. But most of all, I'm gonna kind of finish now. And I just want to say, I hope everyone has an amazing Christmas. This book's £13 in the UK. It's about $20 in the States. It's a humbling experience to read it. It's an amazing gift. But why don't you do what I do? Buy it for a gift and read it first. That's really, really clever. And more significantly, every single penny profit goes to possibly one of the most amazing causes in the world. People who can't afford to eat. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you all soon.